Kennedy, the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And may take the seat. The next item, please.
Resolution canvassing returns and declaring results of the South San Francisco Consolidated Municipal School and Special District election on November 5th, 2013.
Do you have that information? It's in the packet. All right. It is recommended that the City Council adopt the attached resolution declaring the election results of the Consolidated Municipal School and Special District election, consolidated election of November 5th, 2013. In accordance with the Government Code Section 10264, the following certification of election results for the November 5th, 2013 consolidated election is submitted. The number of registered voters, 28,059. The number of votes cast, 6,108. Percentage turnout, 21.8. City Council terms, Marta Diego came up with 3,143 votes. Lisa Normandy came up with 2,715 votes. Bradley Gupta, 2,426 votes. And Maurice Dupra Goodman, 1,910. Rick Osenhert, 1,674. John Harry Autry, 1,573. Kate McKay, 1,200. And William Bill Luck, 855. City Council, 2-year term. Carol Matsumoto, our Mayor Pro Tem, 3,348 votes. Carlos Martin, 1,518 votes. Colin K. Post, 810 votes. City Treasurer Frank Rizzo, 5,260 votes. Was tied altogether. So, Krista, thank you. City Clerk Krista Joy Martinelli, 5,238. They got the highest. Thank you. So I would like to have the council approve this recommendation, that these results.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move adoption of the resolution before us.
Thank you. Move in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? In favor? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. And congratulations all those who succeeded in this. And also all those who didn't make it this time. It was a very interesting election. And you never know what's going to happen. But don't lose hope. Keep on going. There is room for everybody in this world. Thank you. Now, item number 7.
Comments by outgoing council members. Comments by seated council members.
Thank you. Before I do that, I would like to introduce my family and all my friends who came over to see this ceremony. I want to thank, first of all, which I always thank her last, is my wife, Calvin. 50% of the job that I do, I think it goes to her. And I don't do that 100% myself. I think those who have someone at home who supports you, they do the rest. Thank you. I have my daughter Prudencia and her husband Merlin Nelson, and my granddaughter Noel, a physical education teacher in South San Francisco High School. I have my son Silverio and his wife Laura, their 3 children, Marcelino, Mariano, and Lucina. Those 3 kids, they were not when I started in the council. So I am a winner. My daughter Sarah Hilliard, and my grandson Jeremy, who flew from San Diego. My grandson is attending the Fullerton Community College. I thank my brother Ernesto, my sister Cora, with her husband Bill Thompson. And I think that's all I have. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. Ladies and gentlemen, I always wanted to serve, but I didn't know how to get there. I got inspired by a Mexican sergeant when I was serving my year of service in the Mexican Army. He knew that I was coming to the USA legally. He advised me to learn the language and obey the laws. Followed him by Cesar Chavez, by the President, late John Kennedy, and his brother Robert. In South San Francisco, I thank those VIP who encouraged me to get where I am today. Roberta Taglia, the first city councilwoman and mayor in the city of South San Francisco, encouraged me to apply for one of the boards and commissions. I chose the Park and Recreation Commission in the early 90s. The late Joe Ferniquez, councilman, mayor, and former South San Francisco Unified School Board of Trustees, made me feel welcome and guided me in the city council. I never heard Joe raising his voice or throw a tantrum to make his point. I stole some of that quality from him. Jim Mullen, former state assemblyman, councilman, and mayor of the city of South San Francisco, was the key factor for me in serving you all these years in this council. Please allow me to explain. Let's go back to the South San Francisco City Council public meeting of the month of May, year 2000. At that meeting, the 4 council members had to appoint a 5th member to the City Council to serve 18 months left by the councilman and former South San Francisco Chief of Police, Jim Dassman. There were 10 qualified candidates. I was the 11th candidate who applied 1 hour before the deadline for that position. I do not know if Mr. Mullen may have known me or not, which could be important for this position. But what I do believe is that the former Assemblyman Mullen noticed the change in the city's demographics and saw the need of ethnic representation in the local government. It could have been any other minority person among the 11 candidates, but I believe I was the only Latino Mexican American in the slot. I thank you, Mr. Mullin, for endorsing me from the very beginning of that meeting until the rest of the council agreed with his recommendation. Former Assemblywoman, I hope I did not let you down. I am proud to have served you all. To all my constituents and supporters during the 13 years and 8 months in this South San Francisco City Council, thank you for trusting in me, this elected position. I always did the best I could. I hope you feel served by my efforts. Thanks to all city employees, city's department heads, and their staff. Thank you for your understanding during the first tough 10 years of this century. First, the burst of the DOT.com industry, then the 9/11 in the year 2001 in New York, followed by the downfall of the bank business industry in the world, causing properties foreclosures to many people. All these years, our city struggled with a tight budget caused by the loss of revenues. Yet, the city kept our employees working and services going. Today, slowly, the economy is moving forward. We'll see better times, I'm sure. Lastly, I want to thank the secretaries, Donna and Rosa, and previous secretaries for trying to do your best for us, and believe me, you do very well job. You not only have to put up with the 5 council members, you also have your hands full with the city manager, with the assistant city manager, and all those who walk into your office. I felt well served. Don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. These words by the late President John F. Kennedy made an impact in my life. I tried to follow these words through these 13 years, and I will still continue to do so. I want to thank you, good night, and God bless America. Thank you.
Let me just start by thanking Pedro on behalf of my father for those 2 kind words about your original appointment. You have done us all proud and then some. And I don't agree with all of his decisions, but he certainly got that one right along with his colleagues. It gives, and I should say, he also thanks you for the invitation as well as some others. He would have been here tonight, but he's celebrating his 48th wedding anniversary of my mom. But it gives me great pleasure, along with Senator Hill and the office of Senator Lee Lin-Yi, to present a legislative resolution to Mayor Pedro Gonzalez, which delineates the many accomplishments that Pedro has accrued over his distinguished career in public service, a career that not only included his well-documented leadership of this city as mayor and council member, but extensive leadership roles in the region and a remarkable record of community-wide service. Pedro has been a tremendous role model in this community, a trailblazer for the burgeoning Latino community, which calls South San Francisco home. And his leadership and stewardship will always be remembered in high regard, not only in that community, but throughout the community as a whole.
On a personal note, I want to thank Pedro for his steadfast leadership and partnership while I was on council of the Community Coalition of Safe Neighborhoods. It was so important to have somebody of Pedro's stature helping lead that effort during very challenging times in our community. Now, there are lots of whereases on this resolution, and I won't read them all, but I just wanted to say that on behalf of the state of California and Senator Hill and Yee, it is my honor for us to present this resolution to Pedro Gonzalez, and we wish you great luck and success in your retirement. Before you get up, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Senator Hill, who has some words for you as well. And I should mention that after this is over, we officially return you to LD.
Pedro, it is truly an honor to be here and part of this celebration of your elected career. I remember when you were appointed, I remember at your elections, I remember going to the events leading up to the elections, but most importantly what I remember is what you have contributed to South San Francisco. And the great work that you did here, but as Kevin mentioned, the work that you've done regionally and in the county. As a supervisor, a county supervisor, there was one issue where there's homeless task force and issues there, you were on that task force working. Whether it was housing, whether it was public safety, whether it was looking at libraries, whether it was looking at some area of education, whatever the issue that this community was dealing with, you were involved, you were part of it, and you will be remembered for that contribution in this county. And the best part of it is that every time we would turn around, anywhere in the county, there was Pedro and Ellie right next to him. You know? So that saying about behind every good man is a great woman, it applies in this case, because Ellie has been spectacular. She has been a tremendous partner to Pedro, and we have all learned from you in the time that we spent together. And thank you for that gift that you've given to South San Francisco, but to the community at large and to each one of us in our hearts. Thank you, Pedro.
Good evening. I speak tonight on behalf of my colleague Adrian Kissier, who, like me, represents a portion of South San Francisco, and all my colleagues on the Board of Supervisors. Pedro Gonzalez is a fine man, with a big heart, with unparalleled personal integrity, who has a deep, deep love for this city. He has served so very ably over the last 13 years as a councilman, both on behalf of the city of South City and the county of San Mateo. In particular, Pedro has been a very strong and effective voice for the Hispanic community, which now represents about 25% of the population of this county. And in doing so, he has been a model for those who will follow in his footsteps. I have enjoyed working with you, Pedro, over the last number of years. We thank you for your service, and we wish you the very best.
As a South City resident, I got to see firsthand the work that Pedro did. And I love the fact that whenever I was at an event with Pedro, he would always introduce me as South San Francisco resident Mark DeGauls. And I always appreciated that, regardless if I was working for Jack or not, he always put the city first. And ever since my family moved here, I always felt a sense of community and a sense of family. And Pedro emphasized that. And I just wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for me personally, Because as a Park and Rec Commissioner, I've seen the great work that you've done for our parks and for our families, and I just wanted to say thank you on a personal note. It's my great honor to present this congressional record, and there is many whereases, and I'll read a few of them, but the reason why I wanted to mention this congressional record is that we all know the great accomplishments that Pedro has done. But because of this congressional record, future generations will know about Pedro's accomplishments, because when they type Pedro's name in the halls of Congress, his name will pop up, and all these accomplishments will show up, so future generations of your family will know the great work that you've done for our great community. And I just want to read briefly about it. Mr. Speaker, I rise to pay tribute to Pedro Gonzalez, the mayor of South San Francisco, for his 12 years of service on the city council. Pedro has been a tireless advocate to improve the quality of life for all residents of South San Francisco, where he has lived for 43 years. I'm honored to call him a colleague and a dear friend. Mr. Speaker, I ask the House of Representatives to rise with me to honor Pedro Gonzalez for his outstanding service and his lasting contributions to the city of South San Francisco and his well-deserved retirement. I have no doubt that residents will continue to see him at many official and social events and to hold him closely in their hearts. Signed, Congresswoman Jackie Spear. Pedro, again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Teaching is time. 1, 2, 3. To the newly elected officers and to the mayor, please the best of wishes and hope they have a very successful term. Kanpai! Thank you very much.